No, off कर ले. जरूरत नहीं. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We begin by praising Allah Azza Jal, the Exalted, and may His unlimited peace and blessings be upon His beloved Messenger, upon His beloved family, and upon the beloved companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and upon the Awliya and Salihin. And we beseech Allah to guide us, to keep us alive, so that we may worship Him, please Him, and to turn in tawbah towards Him from our sinful deeds and our sinful lifestyle, and from ghafla. Many a time, a person who's on the spiritual path can become worried. They become worried as to whether they're achieving their purpose. They become a little bit worried whether the tazkiyah is happening or not. They become a little bit worried as to whether they are becoming good. They become worried as to whether the ibadat and worship is actually improving, or they're actually turning to goodness, to what Allah and His Messenger require. They become worried when whispers come. They become worried when the state isn't the way it's supposed to be. They feel as though it shouldn't feel like this. It shouldn't feel like that. So a person is actually very worried, becomes very worried. And due to this worry, unfortunately, many other things happen as well. So initially a person embarks upon the path. First of all, the worry is this the right path or not? Is this correct? Then the worry is this shaykh correct or not? Am I the right shaykh? Am I the right guide? Then the worry is this the method of purification correct or not? Then there might be a worry is whether I'm achieving what I'm supposed to achieve. Then there is a worry, oh well, am I actually becoming better? Then there is a worry, is my illness going away? Then there is a worry, is my deeds changing or not? Then there's a worry, is my deeds being accepted or not? And so on, and so on, and so on. So the servant or the seeker is never stop worrying, and is always worried. sometimes it's good to have this concern, but a lot of the time these worries, one needs to actually differentiate. What I mean by this is that you really have to actually put focus as to think, is my worry and my concern. Okay, first of all, people are worried when they come, is this the right path for me? Am I in the right path? First and foremost is that I was speaking to some of our brothers the other day, is that a lot of the times when we are promoting, come and join the course, come and join the course, this is a course, this is a course, and unfortunately we get that into our head, it's a course. It is gripped into our head, it's a course. It's a modern day lingo, it's a modern day thing to actually call it a course. So, so what happens is that if you think it over the course, what perception do you get when I say a course? Brother Ijaz, what perception, what idea comes to your head when I say a course? Hmm? When I say a course, what comes to your head? So if I say there's a plumbing course, what comes to your head? Okay, right. Well then, Imran, what comes to your head when I mention course? Generally, if I mention the word course, what comes to your head? Okay. Jabbar, what comes to your head? When I mention the word course, what comes to your head? A college classroom. Okay, Jabbar obviously has not been to university yet, but anyway. So he thinks first of all, and doesn't obviously from that reply we can also understand that he didn't like school as well. So of course, in times of Brother Jabbar, is that a college, what is a classroom? Did you say you go in a classroom? Okay, Brother Shafiq, what comes to your head when I mention the word course? Yeah, learning. Okay, okay, fine. Shamsher. Right. This is so we're having similar responses that persons goes in to achieve something, goes in for a set program, goes in to sit in a classroom for to undertake some studies, to learn, to achieve something. That comes to your head, isn't it? So automatically when we say, brother, come and join the course of purification, I think most of the people will think that they have to go to a classroom, they have to sit, they have to learn, and there may be some books involved, and there's an exam probably too at the end, and you will achieve something afterwards. Isn't it? Most people will probably, and if you remember your time and your day, you probably thought this as well when the word course is mentioned. So we've been there, and then you think, so now we go on to this fact is that, okay, if people who are literate and people who are literate, okay, people who are literate, that sounds interesting. And people who are not fond of studying, etc., they think, oh, it's not for me. I can't do this. If it's a course, then you have to go in a classroom. I'm not good at doing exams. I'm not good at actually learning. I can't go to class. That's why I didn't go to college and university. That's why I actually stopped. I went to work. So some people have this perception, unfortunately, is that they think when the word course is mentioned, then they become a bit apprehensive. Oh, I can't give my time towards the classroom. I already have a job. I can't do it. So then obviously a little bit more elaboration is given to break that myth and break that concept. But this is what I'm trying to say is that we are always promoting a course of purification, which is good. The word course is... Mashayikh also, in the olden days, they really didn't use the word because it's the modern day lingo. This is why we have to use it. But really the best word to use is a path. That's why it's called tariq. Tariq literally means a path or a way. Now there are many routes, and technically a course is really a path. It's teaching you something where, like you are saying, in that path, what is that path? There are many paths. There are paths leading to plumbing. There are paths leading towards engineering. There are paths which is leading to become a doctor. There are paths leading to become a teacher. Many different paths. There are also paths the devil's path as well. How to be a devil. There's a path towards that as well. Now, of all the path, of all the things that you can imagine, this is the best of path, the path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are many paths, but what we're saying is that this is the path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, obviously, if I tell you that this is the path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who wouldn't want it? Do you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Well, there's a path, and at the end of it, you can achieve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His rida and His pleasure. This is the path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so is this the right course for me? Is this the right path for me? This is the beauty, alhamdulillah, by the fazl and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we don't really appreciate our mashayikh and our mashayikh's teaching, definitely myself. But the wonderful thing about the path of the Tariqa Muhammadiyah is that there is no set uniform. So other path, we're not actually here, I'm not criticizing. This is, alhamdulillah, these are all different colors of the sunnah. It's beautiful. But one of the unique thing about our mashayikh is that you don't see that we have a set color. Our imam is going to be white. Our imam is going to be green or red or blue or whatever I'm saying. Our cap is going to be certain color. Our clothing is going to be a certain style. Our labas is going to be different. Our chadar is going to be a certain color. This is the beauty of Tariqa Muhammadiyya, is that its approach is the most resembling, even its nurturing, its actually way, the tarbiyah, the nurturing, the methodology, is actually the most resembling of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is that you will not probably appreciate is that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's why we have narration, the imam of the different colors of imama, and that's why we have different brothers will be in this room. You can see different colors of imama. Some brothers wearing imama, some brothers are not wearing imama. That's the colors. Some brothers are dressed in, in the attire of let's say salwar kameez. Some brothers are in jubba. Some brothers have got chadars on. Some brothers not got chadar on. That's the beauty. That's the colors. Is that it's a multifaceted, a different phases of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all that is being emphasized by Mashayikh is that the sunnah is beautiful. It has different colors. We don't specifically narrow ourselves to one color. You express that beauty of the color of the sunnah in all facets and all ways. Whatever color it is beautiful. Dress yourself in that. Adorn yourself in that. That is our dress code. Is that the sunnah is a dress code, and whichever color, whichever style, whichever one you do it. That's why you can even see is that even the attire of our mashayikh is that from the beginning there was one set of attire. There's never the same. There's one type of jacket we wore, and that's evolved to another jacket, and that's evolved to another jacket, is evolved to another jacket. This is showing me and you. Don't just take this for thinking, oh, I am out of style now, I have to be in this style now. No. You'll see them reverting to that style and the different ways, because they are showing us that it's all sunnah, and that's the beauty. Don't restrict yourself to one. And that is the understanding that the Mashayikh have actually given, is that we know, for example, a jacket is sunnah, this jubba is sunnah. Sometimes they wear the Maghribi, sometimes they wear the Pakistani styles, sometimes they wear Arab style, sometimes they wear all of these. Basically what I'm trying to say is that it's conforming to the understanding of sunnah from different parts of the world. Because the Sahaba went to different parts of the world and they showed and adorned. So all these, from the dressing point of view, they're saying it's not limited. Now, the beautiful thing that whether you can understand it or not is that many people, they get astounded, they're doing different bahars and different wird and different wird and awrats, etc., etc. I like this, it's very nice, etc. And other people are actually getting great pleasures in reading different hizb and different awrat and dhikr and so on. The beautiful thing about this is that this path that leads to the Prophet ﷺ, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that where others' wird comes to an end, what do? When all other wird will come to an end, i.e. those different hizb that you recite, different awrat that you recite, the wird that you have to then come to is the wird of the Prophet ﷺ, which is the Mustun Azkars. So the wonderful thing is that where others end is where our beginning is. Where others end is where our beginning is, i.e. our wird is the Mustun Azkars. There's nothing else that you can do after that. Others are actually suffering. This is where it is. This is where this is the climax. Is imitating and mimicking the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and there's no better wird than the wird of the Prophet ﷺ. What is the wird of the Prophet ﷺ? Is the Mustun Azkars. But we don't appreciate it. We're thinking, oh, there's a very long wird that takes about 2 hours. I like that. That's very good. That's a wonderful durood. That's the thing. It's good. It's khair. Nothing can actually beat the wird of the Prophet ﷺ. So where ours starts, our mashayikh are given the start. He is the start, others end. And they have to start from here. And that's our beginning. So we don't really appreciate. What I'm trying to say is that we're promoting and showing that this is the course and this is the way. A person thinks, oh, is this the right course? I don't know. Is this the right path? Well, here is that don't worry about this. Is that then they have the worry, is this the right guide? Well, there are criteria for you to see and for you to judge beforehand. Nobody's going to put a gun into your head and say, you must join this course, you must do this path, and you must follow this guide. Otherwise, you will now die, and you will be shot, and that's it. You can't go anywhere else. Unfortunately, this is how many brothers feel when they go to other places. They said they went for a gathering, and they didn't realize that, oh, I've just become a murid of this because they made me do bad. And they said, did you know? No, I didn't know. I just did. They said they have to. And I felt as though I couldn't do anything else, but I had to give my hand, and that's it. I've become bad now. And they didn't realize. So nobody's going to force in this path, in this way. Our mashayikh, there's no force. There's nothing which actually done with forcefully. It is yourself actually has to give. So these worries, there are certain worries which is in your control, and there are certain worries which is not in your control. In your control is to, for example, for you to decide this is the path that I want, this is the guide that I want, and then there are certain conditions that you have to actually do for you to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you don't, then that's a different matter. Now a person is doing that. A person is doing that to the best of their ability. They're doing the azkars, they're doing the sheets, they're doing the course to the best of their ability. There's certain perception that's in their head that they think it should happen or should happen. So, for example, they think is that I now shouldn't be getting any, because I'm trying to be good, why am I getting these evil thoughts then? Why am I getting evil thoughts? It's not right. That even the companions say that to the Prophet, that such thoughts that come to our head, that if we were to utter it, we can't even get our tongues to even utter. We can't even get our tongues to utter. It's so vile, we can't even get our tongues to utter. And he ﷺ said, is that, do you dislike it? Yes. Then this is a sign that you have Iman, and this is actually the fruits of Iman. So what's happening is that there are certain worries that we have, which is in our control, and there are certain worries that we shouldn't be worrying about, which is not in our control. What is in our control? For example, these thoughts are coming in. Now, the coming of the thoughts, the coming of waswas, is not in our control. So what I'm trying to say here is that, look, is that in this room there are different signals that is going, that's actually been sent. There are mobile phone signals, TV signals, radio signals, all these different signals. And it's being broadcasted. That's not in our control. Is it? It's not in our control. So waswas is like basically is whispers which is actually being transmitted, it's been sent. That's not in our control. His job is to send waswas. His job is to actually send us waswas. And like I said from the previous week, is that one of the techniques and tools or techniques, the strategy that Shaitan uses is that, remember, he says, is that for da'awatukum is that he whispers, he gives his invitation towards people. That's his job. He can't force. Umma alaikum bi sultan is that he has no control, or he can't forcibly actually make you do anything. He can't force us, he can't take us from the mosque to the pub. He can't take us from our rooms towards the cinemas. He can't take us from X to Y to Z forcefully. He can't force us to do anything. Only thing that he can do is فَدَعَوْتُكُمْ, is that he can actually give whispers. Now, if this is my only weapon, if this is the only weapon of shaitan that he has, he can only whisper, now he can send bullets and nuclear bombs of whispers, because that's all he can do. That's all that shaitan can do, is that he can only send whispers, not just, for example, if I have my disposal, listen, imagine I have a machine gun here. Don't get worried or anything like that. I'm just saying for the sake of example, is that imagine I have machine gun here and I have limited supply of ammunition. That, for example, I have this much of bullets. So I go boom, 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 boom. Oh, I'm finished now. I can't. Eventually, what will happen is I'm finished, isn't it? I've run out of bullets. Oh, finished. I can't do anything else. But shaitan has got unlimited supply of bullets. Unlimited supply. And he'll keep on shooting. But the thing is that the wonderful thing about these bullets is that it doesn't hurt you. It's like basically it hit you. It just his bullets is such that imagine if it comes, it can't even come in contact. It won't physically, it won't hurt you. Spiritually, it won't even tingle you whatsoever. You know, like for example, you've been shielded with a protective shield, and so he can send bullets, boom, 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 and he's firing away. But what happens? It dissolves. It doesn't have anything. It's hitting you, and he's thinking, yeah, I'm firing. And the person can see the bullets. Oh my gosh, so many bullets. I can see a whole wave of bullets coming towards me. The thing is, imagine is that these bullets are coming, as they come towards you, they dissolve. It has no effect because there's a protective shield in front of you, all around you, that it doesn't have any effect, it doesn't have any harm. When does it harm? He even said this, when does it harm? Is that he can send thousands and thousands and thousands of bullets, so many RPMs, etc. He's sending thousands and thousands. When will it harm? Even if it sends one bullet, when will it harm? Is when it says, فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي, is that when you will accept that, when you'll entertain that, when you will actually accept my invitation, what's happened is that you've let the shield down and you've allowed that bullet to penetrate. That's when it's going to affect. Otherwise, billions and billions of bullets can come, nothing's going to happen because that's his job. So if imagine I was firing bullets which is made of air. And now I'm firing at you. And you're saying, oh, no, so many bullets. Is it going to harm you? Nothing's going to harm you. It's not going to affect you whatsoever. But what we're worrying is, why are the bullets coming? Why is there so many bullets? Why am I continuously getting bullets and firing of bullets all the time? All the time, it's coming. That is not in our control. The coming of waswas, the coming of whispers is not in our control. What is in our control is whether to entertain it or not. That is in our control. That is what you have to realize. We need to start, as people of seekers, is that need to start differentiating of what is in our control and what is not in our control. Is it in our control to stop waswas? No. Because that's the job of the enemy, that's the job of shaitan, to send waswas. That is not in our control. That is not in our control, is that how many, at what time, when. So for example, it is very difficult because as soon as I say Allahu Akbar, that's it. But before that, nothing happens. I'm perfectly fine. When I'm watching the football game, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong there. At that moment, pure as anything. The strange thing is, you'll actually think about it and try and actually ponder. Have you wondered is that when do the good thoughts come? You'll see how this is amazing. Is that you'll see is that a lot of the time is that when you're alone and when you're in the bathroom, that's when the good thoughts will come, and that's the wrong time. Strange, isn't it? Is that when you're in the bathroom, when you're supposed to relieve yourself, oh, I gotta do my dhikr, yaar. I haven't done it. I gotta make sure I do this. I gotta make sure I do that. You're not supposed to really effectively. Hakikatan is that really you're supposed to just relieve yourself as quickly as possible and then get out of there. Try not to think about anything else. Obviously, seek protection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but get out. Get out of the quickly because you relieve yourself. But at that time, he'll put that in. Sometimes forcibly. Is that you, I mean that you deliberately think about Allah. This is a level of actually, sometimes it's not in your control. Obviously, this is not in your control, but you just ignore it. But at that time, it's not the time to which you're thinking. It's actually when you're actually away from the toilet, in your sitting in your living room, sipping in your bedroom, going out to work. That is when you're supposed to think. At that time, you don't have time to think. When do you think? Is when you think in the bathroom. Strange matter. So what's happening is that what is in your control is not in your control for the waswas. That is not in our control for it to come, when it's going to come, what time it's going to come, quantity of waswas. That is not in our control. What is in our control is whether we entertain or not. Whether we actually get the waswas, oh yes, it's good or not good, whether then we act upon it or not, that is in our control. And that's the other thing, is that, so when you come to salah, when you come to the dhikr, I was perfectly fine, but as soon as I do dhikr, boom, and then waswas comes, and then I get upset, and I think, oh, I'm so bad. I shouldn't be getting this, I shouldn't be getting that. Hazrat Sahib and everybody says, the brothers say, these brothers, they're thinking about Arsh of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They're going to different places in Jannah, they're going to different places in spiritual world, and I can't even get my mind to even think about Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, how wretched I am. This is what you think, how wretched I am. Now that is not in your control. What is in your control is, can I actually make my mind think? Can I actually divert my mind? That is in your control. If I say, for example, I can forcibly, with my mind, forcibly divert my mind towards something. For example, this is the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I can forcibly do that. That is in my control. What is not in my control is actually opening up the unseen and being able to see that. That is not in my control. Being able to go different places, that is not in my control. Being able to see different mashayikh, that is not in my control. Getting ilham, that is not in my control. What is in my control is to put that effort. That is in my control. Is to actually concentrate. That is in my control. When the mind will go, the mind will slip. To bring it back, that is in my control. So worrying about things which is not in my control, the dangers of that, it will lead you to go depressed, to get worried, to be anxious about things, and to be suspicious of things. So what happens is that, I'll give you a classic example. You come, you start to actually do the azkars and a'mal, and what happens is that you're trying, but what happens is that you think, I can't concentrate. I can't even see the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Or it's not going anywhere. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not actually hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Or might as well just leave it. Because why? Doubt occurs. You start doubting, is this really the... They say this is great dhikr, la ilaha illallah, it's very powerful. I don't feel anything. Muraqabah, they say this concentration will help to actually, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. But then we hear all these people are creating kashf and visions, and they're having all these different experiences. I'm not seeing anything, I'm not hearing anything. So start doubting, doubt occurs. And when doubt occurs, then they may even leave and they go. That's the danger. What happens is that if doubt doesn't come, you start pay less attention. You don't put as much effort in. You don't put as much effort in. So you think, oh, I'm not getting anything, I'm not feeling anything, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just do it whenever I can. So less significance is given to the amal. So you don't show the same level of devotion as you would have done before. Now it's less. Doubtful comes in, so you start to give in less. Pay attention, give less. Give that full time, there's less. So you start actually waning, you start actually going less and less and less, eventually leave. That's what happens. So worry not about those things which is in your control, those things which is not in your control, but worry about those things which is in your control. You can get your mind back. You can't actually do, for example, people again, oh, it's very difficult for me to do the dhikr. Can you physically sit and do the dhikr? Yes. That is in your control. Now, whether a child comes, whether your neighbor comes, whether your brother comes, whether your wife comes, or whether your parents comes, or whether somebody comes and disturbs you, that's not in your control. But for me to sit, for me to assign a time, assign a portion of the time to sit and to do, that is in my control. For me to then, if I am disturbed, for me to then go back and to sit again to redress that, that is in my control. For me to try to do that, that is in my control. So the effort is in my control. The willingness to do is in my control. The willing to channel back and divert is in my control. But the result is not in my control. The result, i.e., whatever openings, whatever seeings, whatever states, whatever control, whatever level of devotion as such, is not in my control. Whatever qurbanin, some people say, am I getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I cannot see, I cannot see. That's a wonderful thing, you can't see. Why? Those of you who are getting worried and upset, I've been on the course for maybe a year or 2 years. I cannot see whether I've got closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, there is one thing you can see is look at your course and look at your sheet. You can see, that's why the Mashaykh made the, otherwise there was no concept of sheet. There's no concept of sheet. Rajasa will tell you in the beginning there was no concept of sheet. There was no sheet. Where is the sheet? You tell me, you show me where Mashaykh actually had a sheet. Sheet of what? The tongue? You tell me where the Mashaykh had a sheet of tongue. In the old days they say, control your tongue. Bas. Khatam. Matter is finished. Control your tongue. Control your eyes. Matter is finished. Control your eyes. Control your ears. Control your mind. So what they'll say is that control, they meant the sheet. Take it, get under control, try not to do that. What's happening now? We think, oh, look at the sheet. Oh, well, you know, I'm only on, I've actually got, actually I'm on the 5th sheet, yes. If the sign is showing you that you have actually done 5 sheets or 2 sheets or 1 sheet, or you're putting cross and tick, you have qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have nearness. That effort is there. But if it's the case that there's no sheet, there's no dhikr, there's no amal, well, you're just like that person who's actually not started the course then. Accept the fact that you have the knowledge that this is the path and this is what you're supposed to do. You're one way a little bit better, in one sense you're not better as well, because that other person doesn't know the path or doesn't know what to do, and you do. That's the difference. But if you want to see whether you're getting qurb and you're getting upset, well, you can see. Now what happens if they're getting upset? But what level of qurb do I have? What level of qurb? Is it this much? Is it this high? Is it actually next to the samawat? Is it next to there? How much of the level of qurb, what nearness have you got? Again, you can see. That's why the beautiful thing about our deen, our Islam, is that this is how we base our relationship, is that you can see is how much of the Sunnah have you implemented. If you want to see how much you want to be worried, well, is this in your power? Yes. Is this in your control? Yes. How much Sunnah I can do? Yes, it's in my control. Isn't it? Is it not in your control? Of course it is. That's how we judge a person, by Quran and Sunnah. Is that we judge the person, our level of qurbaniness a person has outwardly. Inwardly, Allah knows best. Inwardly, you could be the kutub of the time, we wouldn't know. But how do we judge? We judge by the Quran and the Sunnah. That we judge by the outward is that how much of the Quran and Sunnah can we see in that person. And if his person, his morals, his akhlaq, his attitude, his dealings, his ma'amulat, his ways, his lifestyle is mimicking what the Quran and Sunnah is saying, the more it mimics, the more we can see of that, that's how much qurbaniness he has, we can see outwardly. Spiritually, unless you're a person of insight to see how far, what darajat, you don't need to worry about that. But that concern of how much qurb that I have, can I control to a certain extent? You have control. Why? Because look, you have control of the level of implementation that you do of the Quran and Sunnah. You have control. That's what you can do. But the quality will also determine. Again, is there any control in me to determine the quality of Quran and Sunnah, i.e. my level of ikhlas? Yes, that is also in your control. You can control that. Is that you have different levels of ikhlas sheet. So work on that. Devote yourself on that. Increase the level of sincerity so that your devotion, your level of worship is actually becoming better and better and better, which will gain you more spiritual closeness and qurb of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam day by day. What is not in your control, visions, dreams, ilhamas, and so on and so on. Having things, feeling good. People say, oh, look at that brother, he's always crying. I can't even get one tear out of myself. How bad is it? We had, alhamdulillah, on Monday night, alhamdulillah, some brothers came to our house and we were discussing that, yeah, in the olden days, we used to have brothers who used to cry a lot. Oh, you missed those times, didn't you? Yes, you missed those times. Yeah, there were people who would cry, weep. Different hal and different states will go upon them. People do probably get these states as well. So, and that time brothers were saying, how come he's crying? I don't feel anything. So brothers who were sitting next to him and they hear him crying, and this person is crying his eyes out, and that brother is probably thinking, I want what he's having, whatever he's having, I want that. In the Duruz verses, this brother is crying away, and my heart is so foul, it's so hard, it can't even produce one tear. Why is this so bad? That is not in your control, the state that comes upon you. That is not in your control. We read a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said to this effect, is that the qalb of a heart of a person is actually between the two fingers of Allah SWT. He alternates it accordingly how he wants it. He alternates it. As I seen the two fingers of Allah SWT, although we have bila misal, there's no similitude we can use to Allah SWT. In other words, one of the indication that we get is that when it's said, to the nearest effect, that when it's said that the heart is actually between the two fingers of Allah SWT, i.e. is that the heart has got a very close relationship with Allah SWT. This heart has a very close relation with Allah SWT. If you imagine, just one of the ishara that we can get from this is that it's very closely linked. Not just in your hand, but it's between the two fingers. How close is that? It's got a close nisbah, close relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the fact that it can alternate is that He can turn it according to how He wants to turn that heart. Why? You could be asking yourself, why? Because He is here to design. He sent us here for this world to test us. One of the things is that the heart experience of joy, experience of sadness, experience of expansiveness, experience of constrictedness. All of this is in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some people say, oh, I feel so bad, I feel so constricted. So constricted. Is this good for me? Yes. And sometimes person will say, oh, I feel great, I feel brilliant, I feel as I can take the whole world, I feel I can do so many scars and dhikr. Is this good for me? Yes. But you just said the other one is good for me. Yes. But you said this is also good for me. Yes. But is this bad for me? It can be. Is this bad for me as well? It can be as well. Brother, you're not making sense. Let me explain to you. Is that seizure or constrictionness of the heart. You feel this constrictedness. Constriction, i.e., you feel coldness, you feel tight, you feel lethargy, you feel no inclination, you feel as though that I don't feel like doing this, is such a burden. You don't feel any inclination, you don't feel any devotion, you don't feel any want to actually do this whatsoever, of good deeds, of ibadah, of dhikr, of tilawat, of sunnah, of durood, of salawat, even to do piety, to do piety, to follow the sunnah. There's this constrictedness that I don't want to do this, I don't feel like doing this, it's too much of a burden. It's as if somebody's put a weight of ton on your heart and you can't get it off, you can't repel it. It's as if somebody dragged you down so much. That feeling of constrictedness. Is it good for me? Yes. Why, Brother Qais? Well, the Mashayikh have said it can be good for you so that you can become humble. You don't become arrogant. You realize your weakness. You realize that your neediness. You realize your unvaluedness in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It realizes that here is that you realize is that I am in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With my efforts, with my deeds, I can achieve nothing. But it's purely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Actually, if I'm doing ibadat and worship, it's through Him. Because myself, if it's left to me, I wouldn't be doing it. How it does is that it tames the nafs, it tames itself, it tames it down so that there is tawadu and humbleness there. Humbleness comes, reliance comes, tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. Many of the beautiful characters actually come through that. Where before, for example, you may be looking down on somebody, you don't. You realize your weakness. Oh, for example, oh, that brother's not praying. Well, that brother, look at him doing namaz so fast. He's supposed to be a spiritual person. How is he doing so fast? Then you realize I'm in the same boat. So you look differently. You have a different nazar. You have a different eye. You don't judge. You don't become prejudgmental about that person. You go, hey, wait, Vaki, I felt the same as well. Maybe he's in that state. Maybe he's also feeling like that. Then you think, at least he's doing the amal. At least he's doing the deed better than me. Humbleness. That's what it's designed to do. One of the effects is that to create humbleness, so that you don't look down upon others, so that you think good of others, so that you forgive others, you become merciful to others. If you think that I am as filthy as this earth and I deserve to be treaded upon because this is my state, that's good. That's tawadu. And sometimes this is why Allah puts you in that state so that you can become like this. And then sometimes there's expansiveness. And this part, what's the danger? The danger is if you give up everything and you go with the feeling, you go with the state and go with that whatever condition that you're actually put in, you give up everything, the danger can be that you can even lose iman. That's the extreme danger. If you give up your dhikr, you give up your ibadat and your worship, your following of the tariq, your following of the sunnah, your following of the Quran, your following of the hadith, your following of the siha and guidance and goodness. If you give all that up and follow this state of feeling that you feel in the constrictedness, then the danger could be you could leave the path, you can leave the way, and the worst scenario, you can lose iman. That is the danger. And that is why, for example, you're hearing stories of people who've, from sisters were telling me that my sisters and others, they were telling me that there's a sister who's reverted. Oh, she's not reverted, she's actually become an atheist. She was a Muslim, she even went to madrasa and so on, and then she actually left that and she become now, and she's criticizing Islam now, become potent force against Islam. This is the reason why. That's the danger. One of the reasons. They felt the constriction, unfortunately, to other means and ways, they're led this way. That's why people leave. That is why you have to be careful, is that you don't follow that state. That is not in your control. Because if your heart is in the two fingers, i.e. is in the complete control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means ahwal and state is not in your control. Ahwal and state is not in your control. What is in your control, like I said, effort and doing is in your control. That is in our control. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you in a state of constriction, if it's put you in that state, carry on doing to the best of your ability. And then the Mashayikh even says that, okay, at least the basics. Do not leave, for example, extra ibadah that you're doing, the extra wird that you're doing, the extra durood, the extra implementation, extra fast that you're doing. Okay, you're not doing that. Do not leave your basic, the fara'id of your deen, the fara'id of your tariq. Don't leave that. What are the fara'id? So I'm just going to ask a simple thing here. Is what is the fara'id of, for example, if I say the fara'id of the deen, and tariq is addition to that. Fara'id of the deen, obviously 5 daily worship, 5 times namaz, your roza, etc., etc. Now, what's the fara'id of the tariq? Is there everyone understand when I say fara'id, meaning it's plural of fard? So when I say fard of the tariq, what is it, Jabbar? Okay. What else? You're missing one thing. Anybody else? Ijaz? Yeah, that's why I said there's one thing missing, but Ijaz. I love it when this happens. It's a classic scenario. Whether you're teaching children, whether you're teaching adults, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Same characteristics. Okay, that person says, now what do you think? It's the same as that person. Yes, it's the same. Okay, I said that he missed one. Do you know which is the one he missed? Okay, I'm going to choose my favorite person here. Brother Ansar, go on. Yeah, Thursday. Attending of gatherings. Attending the Monday and Thursday, not just Thursday, but Monday as well. Attending of the gatherings of the Sheikh is actually there. Is that attending of the gathering, because this was said, is that this is farad, you could say. Thursday is more emphasis, but you could say that Mondays is just as important because Monday is the thirst builder and Thursday is the solution. So basically, is that many people, for example, oh, I only listen to, I don't really listen to the Monday one. Monday is supposed to build people, our brothers, our sisters, they need to realize a little bit is that unless you're actually listening to bayanas, unless you're actually reading books, unless you're actually reading kitab, if you haven't got that time, don't become like a normal person who has no time for gatherings. What I mean by that is that the normal armband, that you're supposed to be someone a little bit more different, a little bit more inclined towards the deen. Normal armband, that they can't even make time for even the Jum'ah Salah. Where if you reality is the gathering in which you should hear something, the one day of the week for normal armed people to hear something of the deen is supposed to be the time of Jum'ah, the khutbah, the 20 minutes or the 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And people don't even have time for that. They can't even make it be on time for that. They're usually there when the Arabic part of the khutbah or the salah Allahu Akbar is about to say, that's when they're joining. So they missed out on everything. And if we're doing that and we're not attending the Mondays or the Thursdays, you tell me what sort of tonic, what sort of nasi are you listening to and how you're going to feel boosted to actually do anything. Never forget, I repeat this again, is that no new miracle. You know, brothers are saying, go and sit with this brother, give him some nasiha, targheeb, he'll feel energized and motivated, tell him to come. I'm telling you, Mashaykhs have given it a wonderful system, a way in which you can get somebody about. That is why in the thirst builders, you know, you look at the thirst builders. Thirst builders, you know that mountain diagram, they said these are thirst builders. What are they? Who can mention them to me? Some of them. Brother Jabbar, mention some of them. Okay, Brother Nabil? Hereafter, remind of death and hereafter. Brother Ansar? Some of the thirst builders. You even created those diagrams. Come on. Dhikr Majlis, okay. Brother, sorry, I forgot your name. Some of the thirst builders. Okay, Ijaz? No, that is not a thirst builders. This is where you need to understand what a thirst builder is. Okay, Bilal? Recitation of Quran, Brother Imran? Stories of Jannah, Lala? Some of the thirst builders, वो जो you know हमारे diagram में लिखा हुआ, thirst builders to help that person to learn, understand the purpose of life. Okay, Brother Shafiq at the back. It's company of the Sheikh. Okay, we can accept that. Rajasab? Thirst builders. Thirst builders. This is where we need. Some people don't want to follow the guidance. This will only come if they have the thirst to follow the guidance. You need to get the thirst. So think what is going to be that thirst builder. True, it can be. Shamshir? Yeah. So leading a life of pious and righteous. Haji Sahib? Seerah of the Prophet Shabs? You've heard all of that. There's a few more. Come on. No? Okay. So lives of awliya, lives of Sahaba, Seerah of the Prophet Seerah, stories of the prophets and messengers, talking about, reading about or listening about Jannat and Jahannam, about Akhirah, about death. These are targheeb that actually helps you and gives you the tonic and the boost to actually do something. Or to carry on, to maintain. So if you're missing the Thursday, if you're missing the Monday, and if you're missing the Jummah, and you're not listening to any YouTube programs, or you're not listening to any of the bayans of the stuff, you're not doing anything else, you're not even reading the books, I am telling you, your amals, your deeds will go down. Why? It's not just verse has been written there. Just by ad hocly, it's just added there for niceness of diagrams. The reason why is because you should be actually reading something daily on a daily basis to give you the targheeb, to remind you, to give you the energy, to motivate you for you to carry on doing what you are doing. And what is happening is that we don't even have time for tilawat. We don't have time for reading the books of Awliya and Salihin, or even the Seerah, or even the Hadith, or in the Quran, reading the translation, or about our death, about Akhirah, about Jannat, about Jahannam, about Sahaba. We don't have no time for that. We're too busy in our work. Is that in your control? It is in your control to read. It is in your control to listen. It is in your control to attend. Don't forget about who sat there. You see, this is the thing. Forget about who sat there. Forget about who is that it is in your control to be there. And if you believe upon the fact that, yes, obviously it's a different matter. Listen, Shaitan's got power. We say he's influenced by Shaitan, isn't it? Yeah? We say that Shaitan, if he wants to influence somebody, he can send waswas, and from being miles away, he has the power and abilities. Khuda ke bande, that do you not think that mashayikh, they have the power to actually also influence that person to speak something that he didn't even know, to benefit that person? Jo banda idhar better, he'll tell you, I don't have a clue what am I saying, but he's just saying it. He don't even know. Hamar paas us yakin nahi, iman nahi that Hazrat Sahib can actually do that and actually influence that person to speak something that will be beneficial for me and you. If you think that Shaitan can actually influence and actually have powers to actually bring on the other side of the planet, and he can do that, and mashayikh can't do that, the Magh istemal kare. That what do you think they're saying? Attend the gatherings. Attend the gatherings. So this is what can happen, is that don't see who's there. They can actually do that and influence that person. And that person, if he's basically at that moment think, there may be one or two words, not the whole thing, there may be one or two words that is the thing of for you and for your benefit. That will be suffice. That's the bit for you to benefit from. That is the bit. Why am I saying this is that understand this and understand, pay attention clearly, is that many people, many brothers and sisters are not actually suffering, are actually weakening, are waning from the azkars, are going away from the tariq, is because the basic usul which is there, the basic thing, for example, to build the thirst in them, they're not actually building that thirst. They've gone on drain. So now that mashayikh, now that Hazrat is actually going away abroad, it's even more imperative that we actually attend. It's even more imperative that we should support, help one another to attend these gatherings, reminding one another about these things. It's even more imperative. Even those who are essential, let me tell you, is that this is still the basic foundation on which, for example, you're not doing your essential amals, good and well, is that, but what took you to the essential amals? What took you to the khalwat? What took you there? What took you doing those amals? Is through this, the process of thirst builders. That is the thing that you have to focus on. If you are feeling down, whether you do the ascension or whether you're doing the actual azkar, the amals, the tariq, the sheets, whatever part you're doing, this is still the basic usul. You need that targheeb. You need to read. You need to listen. You need to attend, so that it gives you the thirst builder. It gives you the thirst. It gives you the energy. It gives you the boost to actually carry on. Otherwise, if you don't, imagine the battery is going to go low, 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 low. It's drained. That's how many brothers have used that word. We're drained. We feel as though we're drained. We need a boost. Okay, let's go on this retreat. Recharge yourself in the retreat. Let's go on a khalwat. Recharge yourself in the khalwat. Let's go on this place. Recharge yourself. What's happening is that, why are you not maintaining the charge? Every day when you see your battery is low on your mobile phone, yes, my battery is low. Yes, okay. What do? We need to actually put in the charge and charge it up. We need to charge it up every day. What charge are you giving every day to your soul? Where is the charge? Yes, dhikr is good. Dhikr is the charge. Muraqabah is the charge. But to reinforce that, to add that and support that, you need to also be and diversify. I.e., Mashayikh have said that what they've said is that diversify, i.e., One day read the Quran, read the translation. Next day read the Hadith translation. Next day read Sirah. Next day read the stories of Awliya. Next day read the stories of Sahaba. Next day read about death. Next day read, vary it. So you get different tonics because each aspect has a different effect. Some will give you the aspect of hope. Some will give you the aspect of fear. Some will give you the aspect of tawakkul. Some will give you the aspect of merciness, etc., etc. Those things incorporated in different things you're reading will give you different lights of aspirations to actually get into yourself, to motivate yourself in different ways. So vary it. Make it different. But this, my dear brothers, is not therefore vested as a diagram. Every aspect of whatever is written on there is essential. If you're feeling down, you're feeling drained, you're feeling actually gone completely or whatever, you feel as though like I was hearing that brothers, we need a hand, our own brothers, they're struggling, etc., etc. You can do as much khalwat as possible. That's personal seclusion. Khalwat is personal, remember this. Khalwat is personal, one-to-one. And if you're forgetting how to do the personal one-to-one, then it means basically you need a booster. And the only way to boost yourself is through these things. It's a basic, I'm telling you, listen, I am no scholar, I am no thingy. Understand this and you'll understand this. The diagrams and all the answer will lie there for you. Mashayikhs have given us sufficient guidance for us to understand and to implement. Do this, is that whatever level you're at, you're feeling down, you're feeling lazy, believe it or not, that's what they call the thirst builders. Is that to reinvigorate you, to actually to motivate you, to help you with the momentum of actually doing your stuff. Do it. Read about it. Learn it. And that will help you. So non-attendance of the gathering, it will slowly, slowly sip your energies away. And that's why, how many times have you know, like even the Monday night when we had the brothers, etc., that sober of brothers, the sober of actually being with those brothers, it motivates you. It encourages you. It gives you a little bit of a boost. Maybe not that much, but maybe the pizza gives you more of a boost, but I don't know. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that that sober with your own spiritual brothers and your spiritual sisters should actually motivate you. Because then you realize I'm not on my own. I have brothers who are in the same boat as me. They're in the same mission, same aim, same goal as me. That motivates you. That encourages you. That's what you do. So here, as I was referring to, is that is in your control for you to actually be upon. So remember, hal, when you go in a state of qabz, when you go to a state of constriction, it can be good for you and it can be bad for you. Likewise, when you go in a state of expansion or burst, is it good for you? Yes. Good is that you feel the energy, you feel the openings, you feel the strength, you feel the motivation, you feel as though you can take the whole world on. You feel as though there's nothing that you cannot do. You feel as though there's actually no obstacles in your way which you cannot overcome. You feel light. You feel energetic. You feel as though that everything's opening up for you. This is good. How is it good? It further solidifies what you're doing, and it further motivates what you're doing, and it gives you more energy to traverse quicker and faster. To go quicker and faster, and also creates this yaqeen, creates this love, creates this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And both of them actually connects you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but even more of thankfulness towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessings that He's given. Creates this. Now what's the danger? Danger is that you're in this state of happiness, of ease, and you are finding things easy, other bichara is finding it hard. Danger is you start looking down upon him or her. You think, well, I'm coming, I'm doing these things, I'm doing that. He can't even do anything. Why is he struggling for? He's been set this task to do, he's not doing anything. Why is he struggling for? Or why can't they not do this? How can a person struggle to do dhikr? How bad is that person, honestly? How can you struggle to do your muraqabah? I don't understand it. This person is not serious. He's not serious. How can he struggle? When you start looking down on people, danger. When you start thinking good of yourself, danger. So the danger is, in that state, is that self-likeness can come, arrogance can come, and you start looking down on people, belittling people. That's the effect that can come upon you if you don't know how to actually have the right reaction to it. So it's a two-edged sword. But whatever state that comes upon you, that is not in your control. Is it? I've said there are things which we should worry about, not should worry about. This heart is in the hands of Allah, is in the fingers of Allah. He alternates it. He changes your state. All to see why? To see what will my servant do if I put him in this state. Does he still carry on? Does he still follow the advice? Does he still attend? Does he still actually do the same level of devotion? And what will my servant do if I put him in this state? Does he still actually show the same level of devotion? Is he still sincere? Is he still wanting me or not? Does he still want my beloved messenger or not? All those states are actually given and put into so that Allah SWT is testing us, me and you, through one another, through this world. What I mean by the world, through the trees, to the birds, to the creation, to every type of creation, through me and you, through our families, through our time, through our efforts, through our monies. Allah is testing us to see if we're really true and sincere that we want Him of the path that we're embarked upon. That we want Him and we want His pleasure. Is this person really the truthful salik, the seeker of this path that he's treaded upon? Is it really true? And that is what we're saying, this is what this path is. The path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now testing me and you, is to see, is it really, really, truly sincere in wanting me? It doesn't matter how far you reach. As long as we're on that path and death come upon us, we're successful. Don't deviate from the path. Don't leave the path. Don't turn away from the path. Stay on the path. Show your willingness. Show our devotedness. Show our sincerity. And show that you actually want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why He's given all of these things. So worry not of those things which is not in your control. Worry about those things which are in your control. Worry will not even, if this is wrong to say worry, is understand, don't worry about which is not in your control, but those things which is in your control, do, and put it into effect. That's the thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. That's all we have to do, is try, put effort with sincerity, whatever aspect you're doing, and this is where we'll be successful. But if you worry about those things which is not in your control, this will lead you towards doubtfulness, depression, even leaving the path, even leaving the deen. So don't do that. جزاكم الله خير وحسن الجزاء سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. If you have any questions, you may ask. Otherwise, inshallah, we'll do some azkars and do fajr. Yes, Brother Jumba.
Say if we get thoughts that are in our subconscious, unconscious of those thoughts, is that where the test is? If we stop them as soon as we conscious of those thoughts?
Yeah. Well, basically, is a divert. When you come to the mind level, you learn the technique of diversion. Okay, redirection, diversion is how to actually do that. Whatever. What's happening is that, you believe it or not, is that shaitan is trying to put things into subconscious mind so that it affects your conscious mind. It's doing that. It's continuously coming, so that you then can't differentiate whether it's me or him. Okay, so don't worry. You learn but if you learn the trick of diversion, to divert your minds, then inshallah it's not even won't even affect you whatsoever.
Would it be the same thought of feeling as well? Say if we say subconsciously, maybe looking down at those or something, as soon as you're conscious of that, you stop that.
It's same thing. Basically, is that even feeling of looking down, etc., etc. What happens is that if the thought comes, you say astaghfar, but basically is that's not. You need to say whether it's from yourself or not. If it has come, then you need to actually then divert that, okay? But then redress it with good thoughts. That's why this is the techniques all been given by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you see a fault in a brother, cover that fault with 10 good things about that brother. And so in some aspects, some of this is 70 good things. So I exemplified in the class to you if somebody talks bad of somebody, ill of someone in front of you, defend him. Defend your brother. Think good of your brother. Actually, is basically defend him to your best ability. Defend him, because what that defending does is actually cuts the tie, whatever effect of shaitan is. It cuts it, and it erects a barrier between you thinking about that brother, another thing about that brother, and a barrier of shaitan actually entering and penetrating the hearts of others to think bad of that person. It's protecting that brother. That's what you're doing. You are creating a wall of protection for that brother so he gets no harm from shaitan and other people. Simple as that. So, feelings, when when you look down, again, that feeling, don't worry about the feeling. Feeling, basically divert the feelings. That simply say to yourself, I am not the servant of feeling, I'm the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this feeling of, for example, you looking down on that person, is that think good of that person. Think that, for example, is that whatever whatever weakness, maybe he doesn't know, he's doing out of ignorance. Then rather than thinking bad, make a dua for him. Think good of him. Think good, positive thoughts about him. Or rather, the best he can do is make a dua for him. And what you see, this such a wonderful mechanism that Allah and His Messenger, but our Mashayikhs have actually shown us, is that imagine that heart when it sees faults and it sees vile actions of people outside. Imagine that heart is always supplicating Allah and doing dua for them. That's a merciful heart. That's a merciful heart. That's a merciful tongue. And that person who's actually doing the sin is not even aware that person has just made dua for him. You understand what I'm saying here? Is that imagine you walking past, you're driving, rather than saying, oh, look, badwa there, instead of reading badwa and actually cursing the person, rather you say to Allah, give him hadayah, forgive him. If he's a Muslim, forgive him. Allah, give him hadayah, give him understanding. May Allah use this as a means to actually elevate it. All you're doing is giving dua and supplication. The heart becomes a heart of merciful heart, a compassionate heart who cares about the creation. And this is what Allah wants from us. This is what the Messenger of Allah wants from us. This is what the Mashayikhs wants. And that person, through these dua center times, because of these du'as, awliya and salihin, because of these du'as, this is how awliya have made other awliyas because of these du'as. Because of this. It's not coming to my head at this moment in time, but there's one story in which such an incident occurred, but it's not coming to my head exactly whom and how. But there's countless of examples where this has happened, where Mashayikhs have actually, they've seen this person, they made the dua. One of the classic duas, this is it. You've all heard of Ibn al-Sikandari, Hazrat Ibn al-Sikandari, haven't you, rahmallah? At the time of Hazrat Abu Abbas al-Mursi, rahmallah, at that time, what happened was that this was the Sheikh of Ibn al-Sikandari, rahmallah, Abu Abbas al-Mursi, rahmallah, who was the Shazli master. These are the masters of Shazli tariqah. Now, Ibn al-Sikandari, rahmallah, their grandfather was a Maliki Qazi. Faqih is a Qazi. And he was against Tasawwuf and Sufiya. So he'd issue fatwa against the Sufiya and Ahlullah. He'd against fatwa upon them, that these people are this and these people are that, etc., etc. And made life very difficult for the Mashayikhs. But they tolerated, they did dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him and forgive him and grant him. Because of the dua, in came, and Hazrat Ibn al-Sikandari was also a great scholar. And he's also, in the beginning, he was against Sufiya because of his grandfather, the influence of his grandfather. He was against the Sufiya. One of the murids of Ibn al-Sikandari, one of the murids of Hazrat Abu Abbas Mursi rahmallah, he used to go to Ibn al-Sikandari, he's also a scholar, and he used to go to him and say, you should come, sit in the company. You know, these things that you're hearing is not what you see. See for yourself and give da'wah to him. And Ibn al-Sikandari rahmallah said that, I thought these people are crazy. Why should I go to them? I know already. What can these people benefit me? What will they know? So he was completely ignorant of that. So what happened one day, he decided, one day again, this person gave dawah an invitation towards the Zawiyah to go to Abu Abbas Mursi rahmallah. He said, Chalo, we'll just go. It was our home, so let's just go and see what this is about. See, that day, Ibn al-Sikandari rahmallah said is that there's something in my heart, I could feel there's something wrong, and there's something was moving in my heart. I don't know what it was. So that day he went anyway. I thought, you said so many stories about these people who are mystics and these people who are Sufia. There's nothing to it. So what happened was that he went, he sat, and Hazrat Abul Abbas Mursi was talking about, the Ummat al-Hadith, what is Iman, what is Islam, what is Ihsan. And he went, Iman, you could say, is like this, Islam is like this, and Ihsan is like this. Or you could say Iman is like this, Ihsan is like this, and so on. And he gave different analogies of how this could be interpreted, how you could actually interpret this hadith and what ways you could. He was completely dumbfounded and mesmerized that how this person was able to explain this hadith in such a wonderful way. He was mesmerized. That we could only get limited to one or two things, but this person was kept on going on and on and on. He was mesmerized. But something happened then. He goes and says, something happened to me in that sitting, in that gathering. I don't know what happened. So I went home. My heart felt restless. Ibn Sikandar Rahmullah says, my heart felt restless. I couldn't understand. My wife was there. I didn't want to be with my wife. What happened was I went to the rooftop of my house and I was just staring at the sky. Something was not right. I went to the riverbank. Something was not right. Just staring at the. Something was not right in my heart. There's this inclination in my heart to go back to the Zawiyah. I don't know what it was. Something was telling me to go back. It became so troubling. I couldn't take it anymore. So I then went back to the Zawiyah. All the murids have gone, and I saw Abu Abbas Mursi, and one of two of the murids were there, and he was there. He was sat there. I don't know why, but I started to cry and weep. And I went before the master. I went before Hazrat Abul Abbas Mursi. And I said, please forgive me. I said, what is it? How can I help you? Well, please forgive me. I don't know what is going on. But I don't know, for some reason in my heart, this love for you has come into my heart. And this yearning for you is coming to my heart to be with you. Hazrat Abul Abbas Mursi smiled. He said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love you also in the same manner to the proportion as you're loving me. Then he smiled. He said, we've waited all this time and we tolerated your grandfather's abuse and the fatwas. We waited for all those years for you to come. It was their dua. That even though the grandfather was issuing fatwa, even though he was also given wrong message and so on, but they tolerated it because they knew that Ibn Atullah Sikandar Rahmallah was there. Their heir is going to be coming from this person. So they tolerated the abuse. They made dua for him, and through that dua, Ibn Atullah Sikandar Rahmallah, Hazrat Ibn Atullah Sikandar Rahmallah, he came, and he was the one who actually put down the teachings in written form, the teaching of Hazrat Abul Hasan Sha'ib Abdul Salam ibn Mashish, Sayyidina Sayyidina Shazli Rahmullah and Hazrat Abul Abbas Mursi Rahmullah, all their teachings into the books. And he doctrinated their Shazli Tariqa in the standard form. He was the one who actually did all of that. So they tolerated all of that due to the dua, and because of the dua and the barakat of the dua, in came Hazrat Ibn Atullah Sikandar. So imagine these mashayikhs, through that one dua, another awliya has been probably formed and originating. Through the other dua, another. So don't take the du'as of the awliya and salihin lightly. It's very, very precious dua. But these hearts are always making dua for those people who they see doing evil and wrong. They make dua. They don't actually cause mischief and chaos. Okay. Any other questions? Take it, Jazakallah, subhanakallah, bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and help us all to actually traverse the path of sincerity.